Oh, been a while since I've done that. Let's just hide that. Yay. Actually, yeah, we'll hide that. Wow. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. Stop fiddling around. Hello. 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 It sounds like an echo. It's a distant past. It's 6 weeks. 6 weeks since, it might even be more than that, to be honest. It was May time last time, and the question you're asking is where's he been? And in true English style, the answer comes from Rick Mail from Blackadder with "Where haven't I been?" Woof. Yeah. Yeah, I've been on holiday. Spent some time in New York. Spent some time in Toronto. Came home. That was April. April is a month of birthdays in my family. There is stepdaughter, nephew, sister, family friend, and wife in 16 days. And a wedding anniversary, so that's been. Oh, and there was that Chucky Sunday thing where people give each other Easter eggs that come from rabbits. I'm not sure of the significance of that, and that got in the way as well. And it's just been crazy busy. And then you'll say, "What have you done with your free time?" And I'll say, "I've been playing BattleTech in my free time. I've been playing in the Seal tournament. I've had 5 really good games. A very, very close win against Chester, where I think my maths just about scraped through. A couple of good games against Zach and Arn. And then John Mike was very difficult. That was a tough match. And I managed to play Mitch yesterday and won again. He's got a really good deck in there. And then last night I ended up commentating on Mitch and Chester, which was a bucket load of fun. Um, so it's been busy, 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 and things have got in the way, and I haven't done all the things I wanted to do. And I'm very conscious that come the start of June, I've said I'm running a Batchall tournament, which I'm actually quite excited about. I think it's a bit of a change, bit of difference, bit of flavour. We've done a couple of draft. Let me rephrase that. Michael Cohen has organised a couple of draft tournaments this year, based on the back of the draft work and stuff that I did last year, which have been pretty successful. There are 9 people in each, I think, or something like that. Or there have been good numbers, which is great to see. And in order to let Michael play, because I don't think it's good form to play in your own tournament, then I'm going to run a tournament, and I might even run another one afterwards. I've got a couple of ideas for some very strange stuff and some not challenging but interesting things um, along the way. And I said I'd do a Batchel tournament because wanted to mix up some of the stuff available with BattleTech. So here I am. Please excuse the drinking. Um, just talking for so much these days. So, course 111. Obviously, the deck building course was 101, so I thought we'd better increment this slightly. And this is the Batchel Tournament Explained. And it is quite a different format, which is why I thought I would actually um, do a particular slot on this um, and make sure that everything is tickety boo. Okay, that's all good. It's all right. I'm just changing the odd thing here and there and making sure that everything is all ready and done. So I'm just going to keep it nice and simple. This document I will upload to the Facebook site, and the deck, the Comstar deck, which is going to appear shortly, I will also do that. That's the anticipated thing. That's the bit a number of people have been waiting for. So, what is a Batchel tournament? Well, it is an alternative Battletech tournament format that was developed by these guys on screen here. Bill Beretta, Marks Elay, or Stormcrow, as he used to post on Alpha Strike. Got a lot of time for him. Very smart guy, very good deck builder. David Kazua, I can't even pronounce his name right. Apologies. Kevin Leo, Craig Massey, Anthony Medici, again, name I recognise from some of the tournament lists. Tony the Tome, one and only Mr. Rulesmeister himself, Miracle. Third in 2001. Yeah, 2001. Very good player, very nice guy, very good on the rules. Charlie Peruffo and John Pizzino. If I've got your names wrong, please, guys. I'm English. I don't do hard vowels and soft consonants and other things like that. I apologise. You're on the list. Credit to you for doing this and working this out. And from what I can gather, and I'm not a great tabletop player, I don't play that much. This format stems from the Batchall bidding process that the clans would use when they decide who they're going to take over in from the inner sphere houses, which seems a bit of a dodgy thing from my point of view, because it just seems like, oh, I want to go, so I've got to do it with less than you and prove that I've, well, I've bigger EP, I'm better than you, whatever else. And it just seems that some of them do it to the effect that actually they screw themselves over, which doesn't really appeal to my logic. But hey, if it works for them, I'm not going to worry. So, how does it work? Well, it's a standard Swiss tournament, 3 matches, best of 3. It's different in the fact that you bring 2 decks. You bring an inner sphere deck, of which half is predetermined, or more than half, 3/4 normally, and 1 clan deck. Okay, and this, in the true spirit of things, represents the clans invading the inner sphere. And there are a number of great battles out there. I've decided to do the one that I really can't pronounce, where the Smoke Jags got their asses kicked because they bid too low. The Battle of Tukid, or Turkey Kid, or Baby Churkey, or whatever else you want to call it. That's the one I'm going to do. So the defending Inner Sphere deck will be a Comstar deck in that theme. Okay, so our Inner Sphere deck here, the defending deck as it's often called, is going to be Comstar. The clan is deemed to be the attacking deck, and basically it's a one-on-one match, Inner Sphere versus clan. Okay. Now, in true Batchall style, the clan deck has a bid value. It's all right, I'm doing this back to front to do the quotes. Bid value, okay? And the bid value determines which player plays their clan deck and which player plays their Inner Sphere deck for the match. So if you're the Inner Sphere player, you play best of 3 with the Inner Sphere deck against a clan opponent, or vice versa. Okay. Don't worry about the way I've explained that, which is probably very confusing knowing me and my style. All will become apparent, hopefully, as we go through the following explanation. So, the Inner Sphere deck is often referred to as the defending deck, and the house is designated by the organizer. That's me! And as I've said, it's going to be a Comstar deck. It has a fixed portion of between 40 and 50 cards, determined by, yes, me. Yeah, it's going to be 45 cards I am giving you, okay? You, as the player of that deck, can add cards to your effect to make up a 60 card deck. And given the contents of the deck, I would highly recommend that. This isn't an optimized deck. So from that point of view, you're going to have to deal with something that's probably along the lines of one of the Commander's Edition starters, and play that against something that's a bit more refined and tuned by your opponent. So you're going to have to do a bit of work with it if you're going to win. Okay, you are allowed a sideboard, and you play this deck against the attacking clan deck. Okay, so there we go. The clan deck, often referred to as the attacking deck, is designated by the organizer. Yes, him again. And because we're doing the Battle of Turkey's Kids, all the clans got involved. So the nice thing with this one is that you can play Wolf, you can play Jade Falcon, you can play Steel Viper, Ghost Bear, or Smoke Jag if you really want, of your choosing. Often with Batchall tournaments, it's Karita versus Jade Falcon or something like that. Not in this case. You get a free hand to choose the clan that you want to play. That's nice. You will create your own deck which has between 40 and 60 cards and a sideboard if you want the sideboard. Okay. Card or decks that are less than 60 cards are common in this format. Okay. And each card in your deck has an intrinsic value, which does include the sideboard, and they are given a total. Okay. And you add them all up, and the total is basically the bid value of the deck. And the lowest bid value determines whether you play clan or in sphere. Okay. There is a small note here on sideboards because they must be none or 8 cards. You cannot have a 4-card sideboard. It has to be no sideboard at all or 8 cards. Okay. So the next question is, how do we determine what the bid value is? Because this is all important. Okay. So first point, number 1, the lowest bid value wins. Okay. And what this means is the player with the lowest bid value will play their clan deck against their opponent's inner sphere deck. So if we look at player 1, who has a bid value of 78, player 2, who has a bid value of 86, and a player 3, who has a bid value of 90. Okay, so player 1 with 78 will play their clan deck against player 2's 68 bid value, so that's lower, in a sphere deck. Okay, sorry, it's higher. So the lower clan deck, the lower bid value clan deck plays against the opponent's in a sphere deck. So let me rephrase that or re-go over that again. Player 1 has a bid value of 78. Player 2 has a bid value of 86. So player 1's bid value is lower. They play the clan deck. Player 2's bid value is higher. They play their inner sphere deck, which, apart from the 45 cards that I've determined, they can customize, which adds a nice level of intrigue and interest. Okay. Player 1 plays his clan deck of 78 bid value versus player 3's inner sphere version because his clan deck was 90 value. So there we go. And then when we look to player 2 versus player 3, 68 is lower than 90. So player 2, sorry, 68, 86, number dyslexia there. 86, player 2 with 86 bid value lower than 90. They play the clan deck and player 3 plays their inner sphere deck. The interesting thing here is that the highest bid value player will always play their inner sphere deck. Player 3, in this case, plays their inner sphere deck against player 1 and player 2. So there is a lot of merit in considering how you build your deck and how optimal it is. If you build it too high, you won't be playing your clan at all. Okay, you'll be playing the good old inner sphere version. Okay, and that's your decks. Remember, you're bringing 2. Okay, so depending on the matchup, you could be playing clan versus somebody, and then a different player. You could be playing inner sphere. Nice bit of spice there for you. Okay, so and who plays what is determined by the bid value. Okay, now if the bid values are the same, 86, say, just to make sure I get it right because my number dyslexia today, then you look at the number of cards in each deck and the lowest amount wins. Okay, and if at that point they both have the same amount of cards, I get to roll a die or flip a coin or randomly choose somebody out of a hat at random. Hey, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Okay, so how do you work out the bid value of your deck? So, simple rules. Okay, basically there are 3 rules to follow. The bid value is the base damage of a unit. Okay, there are no alpha heat, no overheat, alpha strike, no overheat, no AP, anti-personnel. None of that is factored in. It's the printed value in the corner of the card that matters. that number is the bid value that's used. Okay. Unlike Alpha Heat, Extra Strike, what am I on? Alpha Strike and Overheat, missiles add 1 to the bid value. That's the only option that counts. Okay. And if the base attack or modifier or content of the card is 0, so you might have let's just say a command card that has no attack value, then your bid value is 1. So the minimum for any card in the deck is 1. Okay. And now I'm going to go through 4 different examples to clarify this. So, bid value of units. Okay. So remember the golden rules: printed value plus missiles, and if the base is 0, it's 1 in total. So let's look at our Dragonfly B. Okay, its basic damage in that right-hand corner at the bottom is 3. Regardless of the overheat, 2 plus 1, and the jump, that bid value is 3 because that is the printed value. Okay. The Black Hawk D has a printed value of 0, okay, which is rounded up to 1. If the base attack is 0, bid value is 1, plus the 2 missiles that it can fire. So the bid value of our Black Hawk D is also 3 points. Okay. And remember, as I've said, overheat, alpha strike, AP, etc. are ignored. Okay. That's units. So our next option is commands, and it's exactly the same process. The printed value plus missiles. Yes, I know missiles on bid value for commands, and the base attack is 0. If it's 0, then the bid value is 1. So here's Thomas Marek. He has 1 attack. Simple. That's his attack value. He has no missiles, and the base is not 0, so he counts as 1. Nice and easy. Retrofit. This is fun. Retrofit missile rack is 3. And the problem here is that the base attack, which is 0, it's actually -1, but we ignore it. So the base attack is 0, so it costs 1, plus the 2 missiles that the retrofit allows, which is +2. So 1 plus 2, 3. Okay. Next up, pilots. Same rule. Printed base attack is the bid value. Pilots don't have missiles. And if it's 0, the base attack is 1. Okay. Chaos March Veteran has a base attack of 1 listed on the card. The bonus from the ability, like Overheat, Alpha Strike, etc., is ignored. So the fact that this can actually do 3 damage because he can get a bonus makes no difference. +1 for the Chaos March because that's its base attack. Our Star Commander has a +2 attack. Ignore the die rolls and everything else. It's +2. There we go. Nice and simple. Our Star Commander is a +2 to our bid value. Okay. Next, the interesting missions. The printed base attack on a mission is always 0 because it is. There's no printed base attack. There are, like pushing the envelope, big modifiers, but there is no printed base attack in the bottom right-hand corner of the card. Therefore, every mission will have a bid value of 1 because we don't have a minimum of 0. There's no printed card value on there. Okay. And finally, our resources. Again, printed base value. Base attack is the bid value, and if it's 0, it's 1 in total. It's rounded up. So our basic supports are free. Any others, because there isn't a printed value on any of the resources, and I think I can categorically say that none of the other resources have an attack value, means that they are going to be 1 like the cards because they don't have an attack value. Simple as that. So they're just 1 for being a card, so to speak. So here is our example, and let me go and put this back up again, and let me go and find Lackey and pull Lackey over here a second. Just go for a new deck, and let's just have a quick walk through some of the cards. So we have a Dasher Prime. Oh, I've moved that. So let me just pull that back. Let's go for Dasher Prime. Sorry for that. Here we go. Here is our Dasher Prime. What's its base attack? It has 3 attack. Does it have any missiles? No. So in this example deck, there are 3 Dasher Primes with an attack of 3. 3 of those, 3 attacks. Total bid value, 9 points. Okay. Next, we have our Dragonfly B, which we've talked about earlier. Where am I? Where am I? He says, flicking this up on Lackey. There's our Dragonfly B. And you can see that it also has 3 attack. We ignore the overheat and jump options. Okay. In this deck, there are 2 of them, and the attack value is 3, as we've just worked out. So they contribute 6 points to our bid value. Okay. Right. We have a Blitzkrieg Elemental Point next. Here we go. 2 in this deck. Their attack value is 3. The printed value in the bottom right-hand corner. Forget AP. Forget that Blitzkrieg does 1 damage to any unit that blocks or is blocking it. Its printed value is 3. Therefore, with 2 Blitzkrieg elemental points in the deck, an attack of 3, they are worth 6 to our bid value. Okay. Right. Next, we have a couple of Hankayus. So we will. Where's the Prime and where's the C? So Prime. Here we go. 043, printed value is 3. Ignore the jump, ignore the ECM. There are 2 of them, they are 3 each, so they contribute, and those are the wrong way round. So let me just update that. 6 points for that one. And as we shall see, 2 lots of 3. And if we look at the Hankyu C, it's a 044, so the base attack is 4. Ignore the overheat and jump. And therefore, with 2 of those in the deck and 4 attack value, they contribute 8 to our overall big bid value. Our Vulture C, here we go. 4 attack value, ignore the long range. There are 4 of them in the deck, they contribute 16. Our Battle Cobra Prime. Oops. That one's wrong. I've got that mixed up with the A. So Battle Cobra Prime is 154 overheat 1. So actually, nothing like doing this on the fly, isn't there? So I've dropped 2 points off that. So that's going to come down to 69. Does 4 damage. 2 lots of 4 give us 8. And finally, we finish off with a wonderful Night Jaya Prime, 2910. Okay, overheat, jump, long range, ignore them. 1 of them in the deck, 10 points per bid value, and there are 1 of them. So that contributes 10 points. So if we add this up, that's 15, 21, 27, 35, 51, 59, 69 points of bid value. Okay. Remember that, we'll come back to it. Okay. Our basic resources, 9 assembly, 9 tactics. They're basic resources. They contribute no attack, no missiles, and have no bid value in the slightest because they are free resources. If we come back to our free resources over here, basic supports are free and anything else is going to be a 1. So when we look at our improved construction facilities, I'll just pull that up. There it is. It has no attack value. It provides logistics. It's relevant. It's a 3/3, tap for 4. So 4 cost, tap for 3 resources. It is a bid value of 1 per card. Okay. And then finally, the good stuff with the pilots. I'm just going to change that to 69, which means that comes down to 87, unless, of course, we get the pilots wrong. So here are our pilots. We have the Solharma Mech Warrior. Here he is. +1 initiative, +1 attack. It's listed as +1 on the card. Like the Chaos March Veteran, we ignore the +2s that are accumulated in battle because they're situational. Therefore, he has 1 attack and we are having 2 of them in the deck, so they contribute 2 to our bid value. Okay. Redline Pilot I've actually got on the screen, so I'm not going to flash that up. It has no listed attack value. Even though it gives +2 and negates overheat, it has no listed attack value. Therefore, it costs 1 per card. There are 2 of them in the deck. 2. Okay. Quick check on the emissions. Unopposed. No listed attack value. Cost of 1. There are 2 of them in the deck. And then the same goes for Overrun and Forged Mission Orders. There are none of them in the deck. There are no listed battle value attack values. Therefore, they are 1 each. And finally, Single Combat. Single Combat, although it forces an attack, effectively does not have a listed attack value. Therefore, it costs you 1 point per card. There are 2 of them, 2 in the deck. And then the final card in this deck, which is Creative Terraforming, no listed attack value. It's a 1 cost command. Okay, so those are our 3 sections. And when we move on, we had 18 units with a total of 69 bid value. That's all their bids done together. We had 22 resources with a 4 cost bid value, or contributing 4. Our commands and missions contribute 14. So our total bid value is 69 plus 4 plus 14, which comes out at 87. Okay, you'll note here that no sideboard has been included. So, making a smart deck, making a lean and mean and effective deck is quite an art in this format. You obviously want to keep your bid value down, so you play the deck that you want, the Kalan one in this case. But if you make it too big, you won't get to play it. So, how do the matchups work? Okay, this is a complicated version of the simple rule of lowest bid value plays clan. And that's very, very simple. The lowest bid value plays clan. This method, which is included in the guidance, I am doing here for completeness. If this is going to overwhelm you and be confusing, walk away at this point with the note that the lowest bid value plays clan. Okay. What this does is it checks all of the players and their bid values and counts the starting cards in their deck. And what you can see here is that the lowest bid value is from player C with 81, and they have 51 cards in their deck, so they're ranked first. Okay, player H has 85 bid value and 52 cards, so they will actually go second. When you look at player E, they also have an 85 bid value, but they have an additional card. So player H is seeded above them because less cards. Okay. Let's look at player A, a 92 bid value, which is the same as player F. They both have 54 cards in their deck. So I flip the coin, roll the dice, pull the name from the hat. And in this case, player A wins. So that's spots 4 and 5. Player B gets 6 with 100 bid value. D gets 7th with 102. And player G with 110 bid value is not going to really play their clan deck because everyone else's deck is lower. Okay. And then what happens is, as we said, the simple rule, they rank them. You can say higher rank, but let's keep it simple. The lower bid value plays clan. Okay, simple as that. So if you've got 2 people and they know the bid value, the lowest bid value plays clan. Okay, the higher bid value plays inner sphere. Let me just lower rank, higher bid value. That's all right. If I put this in here, then it'll all be sorted. I'm going to upload this version to Facebook anyway, for those people playing in the tournament or interested in it. So that's the simple rule. So rank 1 player will always play clan because they've got the lowest bid value. Look over here. This person C has always got the lowest bid value, regardless of whoever their opponent is. Okay. Likewise, G will always play Inner Sphere because their bid value is the highest, and therefore everyone will be lower than them, and they'll get to play Clan. Okay. So let's just go through that. Player 1 will always play Clan. Player 8 will always play the Inner Sphere. The second best bid value will play their Clan deck unless they're playing the player 1 effectively. And I'm trying not to get too complicated here. Player F, who's ranked 5, will play their Clan deck against players ranked 6, 7, and 8, lower them. That's B, D, and G. And their Inner Sphere deck against players C, H, E, and A, 1 to 4, because they're lower ranked. Okay. And then it's normal tournament rules. It's a Swiss tournament, and it's the win-losses. Regardless of whether you are playing Clan or Inner Sphere, it's the win-losses that count. The bid value only determines who's playing which deck for that match. Okay. So simple as that. So the challenge. The challenge is to make the Inner Sphere deck, if you're going to play the Inner Sphere deck, as mean as possible and as hard as possible for your opponent to win. You still have to beat them in normal Battletech rules, i.e. run them out of cards. You might decide that this is slightly easier because they could have a sub 60 card deck. But you still have to beat them. You have a less than optimized deck, which I'm going to show you in a minute because I'm going to show you the actual Comstar deck. And they have an optimized deck with less numbers in it. Let me just turn that off again. Developing a Clan deck to do that is quite interesting because, one, you want to be able to do it reliably and beat your, in this case, Comstar opponent. However, you don't know what cards they have added to and what they may have sideboarded for. Interesting idea. If you are too conservative with your Clan deck, then the chances are that your bid value will be too high and you won't get to play it. If you are too adventurous with your Clan deck, and there is a minimum Clan deck size, which is 40 by the way, then it ends up being too ineffectual and too weak that it can lose. Okay. And just remember, if you've got less than 60 cards in your deck, that's less time for you to win before you run out. Okay. And whatever you play, you still have to win 2 games against the deck. Simple enough. Okay, so hopefully that's the rules in a reasonably understandable format. It's particularly awkward to explain. Hopefully I've done a reasonable job on it, although I'm not so sure. Additionally, I'm going to post them on Facebook, and I'll obviously answer questions there as well. So this is the Defending Inner Sphere deck. As you can see, there are 45 cards in it, and I'm just going to go through each of them in turn so you understand what's going on here. For thematic reasons, and we like a bit of theme now and again if it's in the right place, we're going to stick good old Anastasius in. He is a Comstar card in himself, and he could be quite interesting in this format. Pay a resource, tap, choose an Inner Sphere unit and any Clan unit controlled by different players. So one could be you, one could be your opponent. Tap one and untap the other. That's quite a funky option. If he hits the table, that could be interesting. Comstar support. Costs 1, basically allows you to choose an asset. Nice bit of utility there. The Deep Lake terrain. The thematic again, Hyperpulse Generator. Deep Lake, by the way, is again me putting something in that's a bit thematic based on some of the battles, but not all of them. Hyperpulse Generator, look at a card under construction and reveal it. Indiscriminate Terrorism is definitely a wild card to put in here, which is deal 5 damage to each stockpile. Narrow Valley, again, another terrain thematically based. 5 assembly, 2 logistics, 4 munitions, 2 politics, 4 tactics, and in my usual style, I've tried to colour them slightly different so they are standoutable. Missions, we had to have a comm guard response team in there. We had to have a defensive formation. For thematic reasons, we've put a minefield in and topple. Interesting card. And then units. Comstar's Black Knight, Champion, the earlier Exterminator, the Flashman, the Grand Crusader, interesting card that is, the reasonably durable medium speed Grim Reaper, a Guillotine, a Hermes, Highlander. Okay, they're all Comstar. Hunchback, the J. Edgar Hovercraft, Big King Crab, great picture that is, thank you Franz. Medium Lancelot, Ubiquitous Mongoose, the Nexus, and I've got to stop here and talk about the Nexus because I was commentating being a strange word. I was very fortunate that Mitch and Chester invited me into their sealed match and let me watch. So for a bit of fun, I started commentating on it like it was an American football match. And one of the players threw out a Nexus, and I said, "Here is the Nexus. Trying to find the person that's cut the chain on its nunchuckers because it's running around with the 2 ends and no bit in between." The little chopper with Pinto, the Thorn, and a Wyvern. So this is the Comstar deck. 45 cards of Comstar deck. You are allowed to add 15 cards of your choosing to make this deck as reliable and as mean and as hard and nasty as possible for the invading clan player to beat. You are also allowed a 8-card sideboard should you wish to use so, and I would advise so, because this is a less than optimized deck. I mean, who's going to put a Thorn in anything reasonably? Things like Nexus and Pinto are generally pretty reasonable in draft. They're not so exciting when it comes to constructed and sealed. And this has a bit of a curve. You might argue that some of these missions are less than optimal. Yes, that's correct. This is a less than optimal deck. It's designed that way, but it's designed to give you something to work with and turn into something that will make something for somebody particularly hard to deal with. Okay, so that's the deck. I'm going to drop that on the Facebook channel for people to have a look at. I'll drop the deck file if they want to save that and download that and put that into Lackey and try and work on what they would do to that. And I'm going to put the rules of the presentation that I've shown and a link to this content into there for anybody who is interested. I've also got a unit calculator which I will slot in as well, and literally you can just put the numbers in and it does all the maths for you. Hopefully it's Chester proof, and that should be okay. But if you've got any questions, then please ask, and we'll see how we go. So, thank you for listening to my burblage and explanation again. Nice to be back. I'm planning on doing a deck again. Just depends where I've got a couple of matches left in the draft tournament, so it might depend on where they get slotted in as to what I do next. But I've got a deck or 2 to do, and then hopefully by the end of the month the draft tournament will be finished, and I want to, or I'd like to anyway, talk through the deck I created, why I created it the way I did, the choices I made, and I think there are a couple of shockers in there for a few people, but I'm happy with it. It seems to do reasonably well, and hopefully a couple of other players will submit theirs, and then we can talk around them. We'll have a look at them and critique them and try and help people learn a few more theory, a few more ideas and concepts and other things. And I've got an interesting way of visually working out what you should and shouldn't play, or at least having a look at it anyway. So I plan to do that when the tournament's finished. I'm not going to do it beforehand for obvious reasons. In the meantime, we'll do a few decks and a few reviews and a few other bits and bobs, etc. etc. And I'm hoping to be back to do about a stream a week, with a bit of luck. So anyway, in the meantime, thank you for listening. Nice to be back. Look after yourselves. It's a big bad world out there, and take care. And I'll see you soon.